I can't say enough how important it is to have good curves when you're doing your modeling. And even though these are sort of the curves that we created during the last part of our tutorials, and I wanted to show you there are several things that as I look at them that I see as problematic. I don't like this like bowed arc that occurs there. You'll note that in some areas that the curves aren't even aligned to our surface, to each other. We don't have good tight intersections between them, and these could cause some problems downstream. Although I think that you would still be able to create a network uh, using these curves. And let me start by, let's just select the curves along the top here, and I'm going to do it the other direction. Left. I'm going to do a left-right select. I'm going to select those, and I'm going to execute my trim command. And I'm going to get rid of these curves here, and I'm going to get rid of those curves there because they're not going to be needed in our network. But you notice that we have a big bow here, and those would be pretty straightforward to take out. I can turn my points on, and I look here, and I might want to delete that curve right there, and perhaps this curve right there. And that's a slightly better profile, but I still have that bow. I actually want to get rid of that one there, and that's better. I like that shape better as the profile for my curve. And so I'm going to do a similar thing on this side where I get rid of that bow and I get a shape that's more like that flows a little better. And I'm hit F11 to turn these off. That looks a lot better to me. That flows in there a lot better. But you notice that this curve right here is actually wider than the network. But I wanted to show you that even though the curves don't match up, I could select these curves and type in network surface, and because they don't match up, it's asking me to set first curve in first direction. So you have to go in two directions. So I'm going to go here, and then notice that it's a closed curve. So it's asking for the next closed curve. So I'm going to select these curves right here, and I'm going to select that one right there. That's my first direction. I'm going to right click to enter that, and then I'm going to go in my other direction, which are these curves right here. And so those are all my curves, and I'm going to right click, and if I turn on preview, I get a surface. It does actually produce the network surface, but there are some things about it that I don't like, and it's got a really big bulge over here on this side, and there's some things that I'd probably want to reshape in some way. And I could turn this to loose and preview it, get more loose fitting, but still there's some things about it that I'm not really happy with in the design. And so I'm going to go back and I'm going to go over a couple things that we can do to sort of clean up our curves in order to get the model a little tighter, a little tighter than where we were before. So I'm going to cancel this. And one of the things, I'm going to start out with some of the low-hanging fruit, and I'm going to grab this curve right there, and you notice that I'm not getting good sort of intersection there. So let me look at this curve in the right view here, and I'm going to turn my points on this curve. You can do this by hitting F10, okay? And I'm going to select these curves, and I want them all to be at the same level. I want these curves to be flat and planar because within the context of the model, they really don't, they're not in an area that needs directional change. And there's a wonderful command called SetPt or set point. And I'm going to set the point to the Z direction, which means that I want all of these to be aligned in Z. And so now I can take this and I can actually move it up to where the curves begin to meet more closely here. And now if I look at that in the perspective window, I get they're all on the same level there, but you note that they're not touching here and that they're not touching there. And the way that I can get rid of that inconsistency is by, I'm getting pretty good intersection over here, but I want to do a scale one dimension, and I want to scale this object. I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to bring over here. I'm going to turn on my intersection snap there, and I'm going to click over here on the end, and I'm going to bring that back till I get intersection, and that's good right there. And now let me look at that from the front view, and you notice that from the front view I have a problem here, so I'm going to keep my ortho snap turned on, and I'm going to move this curve back here, and I'm going to do a similar scaler in one dimension here. Oops. I'm going to start here, start there, and I'm going to bring it over there. And now if I look at that curve in my perspective window, I've got good intersection in my network, and it'll reflect the shape of the curves here. I'm also going to fix this one here in a similar manner, and I'm going to move this over like so to over here where I have intersection there, and I'm going to scale that in one dimension right there. I'm going to come over here, that like that, and I'm going to go to my front view and see what we're working with here. We'll move this back there like that. And I suppose I could do a move and capture that too. And actually, if I were to take this curve, I think, and just lower it a little bit, and that's a lot closer, but let's make it really tight because we can. I'll move this curve right there to the edge there, and I'm going to scale it in one dimension from there. To there. And now that's a lot cleaner. That profile curve is a lot cleaner. And let me go here and get this one right here, and I'm going to use my set point curve Z. I'm going to move this up a little bit like so, and let's look at it from the front. Slide that over right there and use my scale one dimension. Grab that, bring it there, and now that's a lot tighter. These two sort of represent a directional change, and I'm going to keep those as they are because I'll be able to use that in the next step that we are going through. If I wanted to, and I think we'll end it here, and in the next segment we're going to create the curve network and refine that.